Man, it's been a minute. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Welcome to the live Derek O'Shea show. What's up, everyone? I can't tell if my video is all messed up or not. You know, first day back, being live. What do you expect, huh? What do you expect? We got so much in the news. We got Nancy Pelosi. We got a lot of mansion stuff. We got Joe Biden cringe videos, Kamala Harris cringe videos. Then at the end of the podcast, I have a segment about cultural stuff going on and Joe Rogan and all kinds of fun stuff. I hope you're ready to sit back, enjoy, and take in some of these clips because it's going to be a spicy meatball. Welcome to the revolution. Well, I'm back. It's good to be back. Good to be back live. Hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday in August. God, I can't believe it's already in August. But we're here. We're doing it. We're doing big things. I'm glad you guys are here with me. Get in the chat. Say hello. I am live currently on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube's, so many things. But let's just get started right out of the gate. We have the Senate right now passing
the majority leader.
A wonderful moment.
Passing the Healthcare Act for veterans impacted by the toxic
Especially
burn.
for all the people who have made this happen.
Evil boss Chuck Schumer is talking. Let's listen.
On this vote, the yeas are 86, the nays.
On this vote, the yeas are 86. And the nays are 80 nays.
Are 11. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this motion to concur, the motion is agreed to.
Madam President.
The majority leader.
A wonderful moment.
God. Is there anything worse than listening to like senators or politicians just upping themselves the entire time? Let me just get started how amazing I am right now.
Especially for all the people who have made this happen, who are observing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, next clip. Well, what we had going on today, we had Nancy Pelosi visiting Taiwan, and here's a little exclusive picture of her rolling in on the plane. I didn't know she was a pilot. God, look at those things. The sunglasses. But here's a picture of her, what actually rolling into to Taiwan. Honestly, I know people are freaking out about this whole visit. And I think this has huge global implications as well. And this is just to get honest. Okay, again, just to remind you, this is like commentary YouTube video. I'm not at all an authoritative source, so don't see me as an authoritative source. I am just somebody that is just like you. But we're discussing the news, and I'm doing my best to come up with clips and stuff like that, so I hope you enjoy. Sit back and enjoy. But here's Nancy Pelosi coming off the plane. I think this whole trip to Taiwan, this is my prediction, all right? I think China is going to attack Taiwan soon. And I think she is going there to tell the semiconductor manufacturers and the chips that you need to move to the United States. You need to move everything going on within this amount of days because China is going to attack and we're going to do nothing. That's my prediction. I don't see why else she would go there at this time, especially because she's talking with semiconductor companies right now as we speak. It's not very political. It seems very commercial. But you let me know why do you think Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan? Besides, it's our last hoorah because she's probably going to get voted out and stuff like that. I honestly think they know something is going to happen. And this is the last-ditch effort of saying, hey, we know China's going to attack in this day, this month, whatever, and you need to get prepared. And not only that, we're not going to help you out. This is like us telling them we're not helping you. That's just my thought. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. That's what the whole point of the show is for. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to Senator John Kennedy, who, part-time comedian? I'm not sure. But here's Kennedy's thoughts on what's going on with Nancy Pelosi.
I want to put up one of the statements here from China. This is one of the new statements since the visit began. Speaker Pelosi is the incumbent leader of the U.S. Congress. Her visit to and activities in Taiwan, in whatever form and for whatever reason, is a major political provocation to upgrade U.S. official exchanges with Taiwan. China absolutely does not accept this, and the Chinese people absolutely reject this. And that comes on the heels of President Xi himself saying that this visit would be, quote, playing with fire. Where do you think this is going?
Well, Martha, I support Speaker Pelosi's trip to Taiwan unconditionally, but with an explanation. As petty and self-absorbed as Washington looks like from the outside, you ought to see it from the inside. This entire exercise began with Speaker Pelosi's ego. Now, when you're talking about a nuclear war with China, you should take your ego out back and shoot it. But that's not Speaker Pelosi's way. She knows after the midterms, she's not going to be Speaker anymore. She may not be in Congress anymore. So I think she thought up this trip as a way to say, well, look at me one more time. She talked to the White House, and some knucklehead, either on Speaker Pelosi's staff or the White House, leaked it.
We need to bring back knucklehead. That needs to come back. It's got to, curse words. I know new words come about, but knucklehead, that's a great word. Bring knucklehead, hashtag bring knucklehead back.
And on top of that, President Biden spoke publicly about it and said, oh, well, maybe she shouldn't go. Well, at that juncture, she had to go because weakness, or the appearance of weakness, invites the wolves. So I'm glad the Speaker...
Hold the phone. The appearance of weakness invites the wolves. That's literally this entire administration. It's like the appearance of weakness. Is there anything more weaker in our government system than the Biden administration? Constant people quitting, can't hold a sentence together, COVID over and over again. Kamala Harris is the most cringe person on earth, which we'll get to a video later about that. It's just, really, inflation is up, crazy amounts, and yeah. We are weak. We look incredibly weak right now. America looks weak. And so to say that if Nancy Pelosi doesn't go to Taiwan, all of a sudden that'll make us look weak. Okay.
went, but if she really wanted to demonstrate strength from the United States of America, she would have made it a bipartisan trip. She would have brought Kevin McCarthy along. She would have brought the Secretary of Defense along. But no, it's her. It's the...
Okay, you do not want to bring Anthony Blinken on a trip to show a sign of strength. There's another person that isn't, that's not a strongly minded nor capable of having an aggressive conversation or being stern or looking powerful or looking all there. He breathes weakness towards me. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts.
The Speaker Pelosi show, and the added benefit of all this is that, we're not talking about inflation or crime or the open border or her husband's stock trades.
And we will never talk about her husband's stock trades. Let's just be real about that. She'll be out and done. She will put forth a bill when she leaves about that. She's like, oh, it's not fair. Okay. And in this moment, every conservative or libertarian or logical thinking individual is vindicated by this statement. Ready?
Of course, all lives matter.
What'd you say? I want to hear that one more time.
Of course, all lives matter.
Okay, what? I'm so triggered right now.
Of course, all lives matter.
Okay, so all lives matter. This administration is hilarious. As they're slow, everything they like put forth and make everything worse, they all of a sudden change their mind because they realize how stupid of an idea it is, as we'll get into later about Manchin's new bill in regards to adding a pipeline. Yeah, you heard me. A freaking pipeline. Do you remember the Keystone Pipeline? I know people like to say, like, yeah, but it wouldn't have been in production. It wouldn't have been fully created. It wouldn't. Yeah, okay. Well, when you halt something and stop something, let's talk about how much longer that takes to get it done. Then it adds lots of time. And then here we have the craziest. Okay. This clip from MSNBC perfectly sums up this network, I believe, in a nutshell. I've heard some of the most vile and racist things from this network. But it's okay because they're liberal or far left. It's okay to be racist if you're a leftist, apparently, according to Google, MSNBC, NBC apparently. But listen to this statement and just put it in your lungs, put it in your blood, because it should make you angry. It made me angry when I first heard this. If you haven't seen this clip, prepare yourself, because it's just so narrow-minded and bigoted. But listen.
Be a close election in Georgia because Walker has the backing of the Republicans. Now you ask, why are Republicans backing this man who's so clearly unintelligent, who so clearly doesn't have independent thoughts? But that's actually the reason. Walker's going to do what he's told. And that's what Republicans like. That's what Republicans want from their Negroes, to do what they're told. And Walker presents exactly as a person who lacks independent thoughts, lacks an independent agenda, lacks an independent ability to grasp policies, and he's going to be a close election.
The host said, right. I mean, seriously, this kind of mindset is not only so racist and wrong in every way. The idea that you have to think rightly based on your skin color, what you look like, cultural backgrounds, whatever. And if you go out of that box, he's literally doing what he's saying Herschel Walker's doing. It's unbelievable the kind of hypocrisy that comes out of these people's mouths and rhetoric that comes out of their mouth, and they don't care. They just don't care. And there's no repercussions. There's no turning back. The host didn't stop and say, you know what? This is not the time or not something we should be talking about. What you said was incredibly racist. And the idea that a black man can only think one way, and if he thinks others, it's because you fill in the blank. He's a right thinking, blah, blah, blah. He's so stupid. It's maniacal, evil. It's like an evil boss. But this guy's just a race baiter, That's what it's all about. That's his grift, is to call out black Republicans. Everyone's got to have a grift, That's the only way to get on these television shows. The only way to get on corporate media is to be over the top, insane, say insane things like what he just said. I mean, hear this one more time.
That's what Republicans want from their Negroes, to do what they're told. And
God. If I was Herschel Walker, I would want to punch this guy right in the face. What the frick, dude? So he's so pompous in his little jacket and his hair and his is that a cross in the background? What? Stop, man. Just but what's my grift? Help me find that out. All right, next. Okay, so we're talking about UK spies apparently watched the 9/11 al-Qaeda chief responsible for deaths of 3,000 people that died. He was killed by a 6-blade ninja missile. Here's a little picture summary of him just chilling on his balcony, having a darn good old time. And this whole thing that happened is insane, because Joe Biden at one point said that there is no al-Qaeda left in Afghanistan and there's no reason for us to be in there, and that's why we pulled out. But apparently he was wrong. Or maybe he knew the whole time and he was bluffing and he hoped he would go out on his balcony and just be chilling, and then a 6-blade ninja missile would take him out. I have no idea. But we're supposed to be clapping this. And as somebody like myself, we just got out of this war. What do you think is going to happen now? You take out this kind of personality, this kind of person. Does this end the war, or does this prolong it? Does this give them reason to fight more? You tell me, because I think I have an answer to that question, but do you have an answer? Let me know. This is my favorite thing from Reuters. Blinken says Taliban grossly violated Dana agreement by sheltering al-Qaeda. You mean Taliban went back on something they said they were going to do? Amazing. These people are geniuses, and Anthony Blinken is a genius. Remember what Kennedy was talking about? Pelosi should have brought him. Why? He's not a sign of strength. He's as smart as, as Joe Biden's smartest ally, Hunter Biden. I don't know. It's just kind of insane. I just feel like I want to wake up from this dream eventually, and or this nightmare rather. And I don't think we're ever going to wake up from it. Here's Anthony Blinken doing his thing, just completely confused. And again, this is Peter Doocy essentially calling out what we just talked about regarding when we pulled out of Afghanistan. And Joe Biden himself said there's no reason for us to be in Afghanistan in August 2021. No reason for us to be in Afghanistan because there's no al-Qaeda. Well, turns out there was one, and we killed one, and we're supposed to be celebrating, and no one remembers the past. This is what happens when we're just driven by our emotions or the hot topic of today, instead of thinking through things and remembering the past and thinking about the future. We're just driven by our emotions in the moment. And our administration is a perfect example. Hey, you should be celebrating this. Don't think about what we said a year ago this time. Don't think about that. Just think about what we did today. Now listen to this exchange.
So we know that the Taliban was harboring the world's most wanted terrorist. You guys gave a whole country to a bunch of people that are on the FBI most wanted list. What did you think was going to happen?
Seriously. And we'll listen to the response.
Premise that we gave a whole country to terrorist groups. I mean,
we didn't give a whole country. Not everyone there is Taliban. I know that the government in control of it. It's just they're not it's like in America. Not everyone's American. It's just God, they just play word games. It's just so silly.
Again, I'd encourage you to ask.
Harboring the world's #1 terrorist. How is that not giving a country to a terrorist sympathizing group, if not giving them permission to have terrorists just sit on a balcony?
The question, Peter, the way you asked that, it makes it sound like we owned Afghanistan a year ago. It wasn't our country. It was an independent sovereign state. And the president made a bold decision to end a war that had been going on for 20 years because he believed then, and still believes now, that our national security interests are best met by meeting the threats of today, not the threats of 2001. And
except if you're China, we'll give you a pass because you guys make a lot of things. God.
I don't want to relitigate the whole war here, but obviously no one anticipated the Ghani government to fall as fast as it did.
My God, really? you know when they have a narrative and they need to stick to it. Some of these people are incredible. That how they can recall their characters or their scripts that were written for them. It's pretty amazing.
But we said at the time that as we depart Afghanistan, we're going to keep vigilant. We're going to stay ready, and we're not going to let Afghanistan become a safe haven for terrorists who threaten our homeland. And this past weekend, we proved that case precisely.
Yes, but we did give it to the Taliban, but you need to be thanking us for it. I just want to check on live news feeds.
In Beijing
Anything
right now.
exciting
And
happening?
Fact, you know, we can see it from many of the comments on Weibo, which is China's Twitter-like service.
Weibo. Let's see what's going on. The corporate media, nothing. All right, let's keep going. Next video. I told you we're on it. Okay, and here is this queued up video, which is just fantastic, of before and after. Let's listen.
When we left Afghanistan, we knew that there was a small presence of al-Qaeda already in the country, and we said that at the time.
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
When we left
Oops. These people don't care. Sometimes I wonder why I care so much about holding people accountable for things that they said in the past. It's like, what the frick, man? Sometimes I wish I didn't have that twitch in my head of like, wait a minute. Like, what the heck? I wish I could just fly the seat of my pants. Hey, Giovanni. Hello from the clown show. Never, like, seriously. It's such a clown show, and the fact that there are still people I know, and I'm sure people you know as well, that back this man. Like, it's just like it's I don't even have words sometimes. But let's keep going down some of these videos. All right, I'm done with al-Qaeda. But we're going to go to energy next, which is not always fun, but let's check on the live feed. Giovanni, how you doing, my dude?
As gas prices strain budgets and groceries are 12% more expensive than...
Oh, yeah. Inflation. What is
That's not going to work
NBC
out
talking
very
about?
well, Joshua. So I think that
They are beyond delusional. Yeah, I struggle. Is it delusion or is it all on purpose? Like, I just struggle with that back and forth in my head because I struggle with calling some of these people stupid because of the positions they're in. And I know that like anybody can go into the government. I mean, obviously, some of these people, but like, I don't know. I just think they're doing it on purpose. It's a little of both. Okay, I'm glad you're on the same train as me.
she had
because like
otherwise,
I just can't look at. I know like some of the prominent YouTubers, podcasters, whatever, will just look at this administration and just write everything they do dumb off as stupid, and I can't do it. I have to look at it like this is on purpose, like because there are too many things lining up. They're not just like happenstance mistakes. I mean, if Joe Biden completely jumps ship and the administration jumps ship and they change their entire rhetoric, they start opening up pipelines, they start drilling, they start doing all these cutting back on green energy, also restrictions within the government, lowering tax. Like if that happens, then I could be like, wait, these people are just dumb and they realize they made a big mistake. But I don't see them doing it. I just see them doubling down. Speaking of doubling down, this woman is a freaking peach. Let's listen to her.
Why aren't we doing a little bit more to allow more leases, more drilling, more pipelines?
Well, oh, what an obvious question.
Well, in fact, part of the agreement with Senator Manchin will be to reduce the timeframes for permitting, not just in fossil, but in clean energy as well. And honestly, these times, unfortunately, the well-intentioned.
Hey, seriously, I feel like I have to hear this whole thing again. They do so much social engineering. That's why they start actually believing their own book. Yeah, I know. What's that? It's like if you constantly repeat the lie, you start believing the lie. But that's what happens in our culture today, is that people will repeat the lie from corporate media, from politicians, from you film from movies, whatever, and they will just state it as fact without any references or citations or anything. They're just like, oh, this is just true. How could you disagree with what I'm saying right now? This is just a fact. Everyone accepts this. Everyone agrees with this. The fact that you don't agree with this shows me you're dumb. But I watch people, listen to people say that kind of crap all the time of like, it's a fact. The science is settled. Okay? It's settled. You can't ask questions. It's settled. And the fact that you think that you can walk in to my science, to walk into my ideology, to my narrative, and ask me a question when the narrative, the science, the whatever is settled, you are insane, my friend. Like that's, we just live in a crazy world. But again, all right. Sorry. Every once in a while, when that rant hits, that junk hits. All right. This video of our energy secretary who constantly big ups green energy and stuff like that. And then we're finding out in the Manchin bill, there's a thing for pipelines. They all throw these terms around like you are racist if you think this is exactly. Well, the minute they name call you something is the minute they lost the argument. And that's always true in anything in life. It's like, if you call somebody stupid or like, that's why I'm trying not to just say, Joe Biden is stupid, Joe Biden is blah, 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 because I'd rather argue things that he's putting forth rather than just say they're dumb. But here's our energy secretary who just big ups green energy and talks about canceling pipelines and we got to stop drilling and entering the new liberal world order, or whatever they said before. Here's her actually saying, you know what? In the Manchin bill, we're actually going to have some pipelines. So how about that? I know we told everyone that we're going to get rid of it and we're going to do everything we can to end fossil fuels and stuff like that. But we're realizing that was a dumb mistake. And so we're meeting halfway. Isn't that nice? But listen to her answer.
Why aren't we doing a little bit more to allow more leases, more drilling, more pipelines?
Well, in fact, part of the agreement with Senator Manchin will be to reduce the timeframes for permitting, not just in fossil, but in clean energy as well. And honestly,
thank God.
Unfortunately, the well-intended processes that have been put in place to allow any kind of access to federal lands or waters takes a huge amount of time. And so we are in a climate crisis. So we want to accelerate the deployment.
And an energy crisis and inflation. But I continue, energy secretary, with your glasses.
Of offshore wind, of solar on public lands.
Yes, let's put solar panels everywhere because that is good for the environment. It doesn't harm any animals, doesn't take up massive amount of land. Green energy is good. It's not that we have to dig in the earth or rely on child labor or other countries to do all the digging for us and stuff like that. Green energy is wholesome and beautiful. But also, don't forget that we're including a pipeline in this new deal. So quit your bitching, everyone.
So reducing those time frames, reducing the amount of time it takes to get energy is a good thing for America.
Yes. That's literally why inflation is up so high. That's one of the reasons. The energy sector needs some release, if you will. Maybe a pipeline release or maybe more drilling, whatever. The answer to these people are always more wind, more solar. That's the only thing they see. I can't engage with honest conversation if that is the only path forward, because we all know you can't just do it with those things. You need a plethora of things, because what happens in a winter storm or what happens, you fill in the, these are things like an obvious, I'm not an energy expert, but I'm an obvious person that thinks obviously, that isn't just so politically based that I have my blinders on and it's just a good thing. And if you're not for it, it's because you're racist, period. Okay. Next video of this. Oh yeah. Everyone's talking about this exchange. You let me know how this exchange is.
Are you trying to also say, because this is the part that counts. I mean, people look at corporations and they know they've got great tax accountants. Heck, they have complete departments trying to come up with ways to find loopholes and to keep and to hire people as well. I mean, let's not forget that too. But $400,000 was supposed to be the cutoff, and I'm reading, and I am reading, Senator, that it's
those kids need to speed up the cobalt production of those electric maybe invest in stock dollars and more. Seriously. Well, if inflation gets any worse, we might have it here. So, and there are plenty of PetSmarts around this country that could fill that need.
Who's paying any taxes? Who's paying any taxes that doesn't have a corporation that has revenue of over $1 billion a year? Not one person. Not one person, Harris. You're assuming because they'll pass that on. The companies were paying zero.
No. I'm asking a different question than you're answering. I'm saying America.
It's such an obvious statement, too. You can tax the rich and you think it's not going to immediately tax the poor. That's exactly what's going to happen. Like, do you think rich people just take on taxes and they don't pass it to the poor classes, or, you know, they own businesses? Hey, what up, Justin? Hey, I did. I did work at PetSmart. Hey, don't tell anyone. The fact that, like, you think, like, rich people aren't going to pass the buck to poor people, it's just such a dumb rhetoric and just dumb thinking. Like, rich people create jobs. Rich people create businesses. And then they have those businesses. And if they are poor, they're not going to hire as many. Like, I don't need to go through it. But, yeah, we can play politic games, you know. It's always with our government, too. They can't actually balance a budget or cut out overspending or stuff like that. They just need more money. It's always, we need more money. It's not like, why don't you just do better with the money you have? Like a normal human being, like me and you. You and I can't just continually take out loans over and over again. We will reach a limit. Yes, we can come up with different names and steal people's identities. But like, we will reach a limit. But not with the government. The government's like, hey, we need more money. What are we going to do? Well, we got to keep giving billions of dollars to Ukraine because you just have to. And we'll watch what happens with Taiwan and China, see how much money we're going to give them and how much we're going to help them. Sure, it's going to be so much. But, oh, our politicians. I don't know if you know this, but stuff's pretty scary right now, especially with China and Russia broed out. Yeah. You know, Justin, I don't know if you saw it early in the show. I honestly think this whole Nancy Pelosi visit is Nancy Pelosi telling them that we know they're going to attack them. Like, it's just my assumption. I don't see any other reason why she's there besides, like, her own ego. I mean, that could be it. But it's also, I know today she met with semiconductor chip manufacturers. Why did she meet with them? My thought is that she's probably telling them that, hey, they're going to attack you, and you should probably, as soon as possible, move everything you have over to America. Like, I don't see it working out any other way. Because China constantly talks about taking Taiwan, just like Russia talks about taking over the eastern side of Ukraine. They constantly did it, and then they did it. Why? Because the Biden administration is incredibly weak. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if you are eyeing something, you don't like take over something in the midst of a strong leader or strong presence. You wait till a weak presence comes in and then you take over. It's just what everyone does. No more graphics cards. I know. Rest in peace. You can't blame minors anymore. I know.
Americans, $400,000 and below now are going to be taxed. Their taxes are going to go up.
That's a lie. That is a pure outright lie.
I love this part. $400,000 and down.
Question than you're answering. I'm saying Americans, $400,000 and below now are going to be taxed.
Yes.
Their taxes are going to go up.
Yeah, maybe not taxed by the government, but they'll have a... It's like inflation is the cruelest tax on the poor. Is it an actual tax? No. But you're paying more, or you can't buy as much with what you currently have. It's not an actual tax.
A lie. That is a pure outright lie.
So their taxes are not going to go up?
Not at all. And you know one thing? How about the people that...
It's not going to go up based on anything we're doing. Now, if those rich people decide that they want to bump up the prices on things or hire less people, that's their deal. And then we'll blame them again for the same thing. It's a circle. It's just a circle. Mm-hmm. It's the sneaky tax. I'm a snack. I'm a snack. Do you guys remember that YouTube video? That junk was so old. I'm a snack.
They're going to be saving, as far as on their Medicare, $288 billion who are paying higher prices than they should, aren't they? They didn't even assume that in the revaluation. They didn't talk about any of that. How about if gasoline prices go down because we're producing more oil to make more gasoline?
Well, and those are going to fluctuate. Already experts are saying we could go right back up before Labor Day, but I want to hit that tax line again of 400,000.
Be an American.
I got to hit that.
Yeah, be optimistic. Even though our administration is just terrible and they're doing all the wrong things, and China and Taiwan and Russia, all this stuff. Get the white pill, Harris. Take that black pill out.
Are you saying that Mitch McConnell and others in the Senate are wrong about those numbers, and that Americans' taxes are not going to go up beyond that point?
Totally, absolutely wrong. Totally wrong.
You know what the funniest thing about this clip is that I have seen liberal sources all over Twitter clipping this and saying, Manchin destroys Faulkner. Just like you guys don't even realize what you're agreeing to. It's just sometimes I feel like I live in an altered reality of, I feel like I'm living in a logically based understanding, like somebody who doesn't have it all together but is constantly trying to learn, but wants to be consistent in my logic. And then I have the other side who's just like completely emotional based and do whatever feels good. And yeah, my views change constantly, but I'm going to pretend like they never change. Like, I feel like those are the two that are just like butting heads. And that's why I don't see us ever getting closer together, or there's going to be a time where we hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I just don't see that anymore because we're so divided as a nation. But in some degree, that's okay because we're supposed to be divided. We're supposed to have different opinions. We're supposed to duke it out logically and have conversations with one another and disagreements and stuff like that. You're going to have disagreements with me. I'm going to have disagreements with you. It'd be so sad if we never did that. How can I grow as a human being if you come on my podcast and never like disagree with me or something? Like, how can I grow? I constantly want to grow. I want to be proved wrong. I enjoy being proved wrong. I'm not saying belittled and mocked and stuff. I'm saying like I enjoy learning, and that's why we should all be like that. But I just feel like we live in two different realities. I was gonna say it's like living in a bizarre alternate reality. Exactly. It's like the Matrix. It's literally, we live in the Matrix. There are people in the Matrix, and there are people outside of the Matrix that realize that what they just need to get tapped back in to deal with all the people in the Matrix. like that's what it seems like. Joe.
And here's the thing,
right,
they're looking at it through political lenses. Look at it through the American lens.
I'm just asking questions.
I'm just answering questions.
Okay.
Sure feels like, okay, good.
Because
I'm glad I'm not alone.
You're asking and the facts you have are completely wrong.
Well, you guys are in the same chamber, so it'll be interesting when you finally get to the, to stir in the stew here, what it's really going to be like. I want to get to this. You gave some interviews over the weekend on Sunday shows, and at one point you were asked the question on whether or not you would like to see Democrats do much, much better than what they're forecast to do right now based on the numbers.
Okay, she just starts talking about like Democrat polls and midterms and blah, 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 and it gets boring after that, and like, who cares? Yes, nobody is liking what you guys are putting forth. Duh. And then Joe Manchin isn't backing Biden. He's not going to say he should run in 2024. And the conversation ultimately peters out. So I'm going to hold you from having to deal with what I already dealt with by watching this, because it's just so silly. It's just, anytime I hear about poll numbers, I'm like, who cares? Who are these people that are polled? What city were they from? And also, I already know how I feel. And I assume I know how you feel based on how much you're spending. But this is my favorite thing, is somebody pulled up this old clip of Joe Manchin talking about, this old clip of Joe Manchin talking about, now in a time of high inflation and recession and stuff like that, now is not the time to raise taxes, yet he did it. Just shows you how stupid our politicians, silly our politics are.
I think Mr. Manchin, where do you stand on repealing the tax for families who make $250,000 or above?
I don't think during a time of recession you mess with any of the taxes or increase any taxes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
I think
$1,000 or above.
I don't think during a time of recession you mess with any of the taxes or increase any tax.
Except if you make over $400,000. Those are the people we need to go after. Everyone knows that. I'm Joe Manchin. I'm from West Virginia. I have a boat. My best friend is Lindsey Graham. I'm Joe Manchin. Gerald, my sleeper house is demon. Our politicians are just so silly. All right, and it just gets, everything gets weirder. Here's our president. I'm starting to think reptilians might be real. I think they are. And I think we're about to watch one right now. Here's Joe Biden upping people going back to work. He's like, look how many jobs we created. It's like, no, you didn't create anything. You just allowed people to work again.
They were wrong. We recovered all the manufacturing jobs we lost during the pandemic.
We recovered all of the manufacturing jobs we lost during the pandemic. Yeah, that's how it worked. You didn't allow people to work. They went on unemployment. And then once they were allowed to go back to work, they went back to work. And then you're like, yeah, look what I did. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Oh, any W. Politicians will lie through their teeth for a W. They don't care. They don't care. If you think, just about every single one of them will do it too. It's just so silly.
613,000 of them gained since I took office. More than any other president.
More than any other president. He's said this a bunch of times. This is not the mind-blowing clip that everyone should be losing their minds about. It's the fact that he's still talking about it. What he did was so amazing. You didn't do anything. But this is our politics, You don't do anything, and if anything goes right under your leadership, you talk about how amazing of what you did worked. What did you do, Joe? Nothing. And then people went back to work. Amazing. You're incredible. Oh no, here's another cringe clip. I would not trust that guy with a glass of water. Me neither. Definitely wouldn't trust him on a bike. Dear God. Could you imagine being a family member today and being like, Joe, do you want to go for a bike ride right now? I keep wondering if we'll ever see Joe Biden on a bike again. Or is he officially retired? Because I know the minute that dude gets on a bike, people are going to be like, ooh. Even Secret Service is probably going to be holding his seat while he rides behind him just to make sure he doesn't fall over.
In Michigan. But I want to thank our congressional delegates.
He fell in a place called Biden Falls. Dude, the fact that people are going to the place where he fell and taking pictures of them falling on the same place is so funny.
For their work on this legislation. Our labor friends are standing up for American workers and President Biden for his leadership. Now,
again, these are all clips from today, by the way. So if you're ever like, what is this? It's from today. I try to pull out all the interesting clips I could possibly find for the day for your pleasure.
Let's get it done and keep our country and the state of Michigan moving forward. It is my distinct honor to introduce President Biden, who is joining us virtually.
Governor, thank you very much for the introduction. And there's no one I'd rather be working with at the state level than you.
Yeah, Governor Whitmer has a great reputation. Continue with the FBI.
You know, when I decided to run for president this last time, I decided that I was tired of the notion of a trickle-down economy.
Literally how every well-functioning comedy works, but continue.
My dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, a job.
Joey, make sure the government gets involved in every inch of the economy because you will do what you got to do and make things run perfectly. They're also old. Dude, this video reminds me of how old Joe Biden is.
I was tired of the notion of a trickle-down economy. My dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, everything's going to be okay.
And what does that have to do with a trickle-down economy? Seriously, what does that have to do with it? Somebody help me. Mr. Burns. What does that have to do with a trickle-down economy? Nothing. That's what you have when you have a job. You feel like you have purpose. You feel like you have meaning. It gives you something to complain about in your life. And I think everyone needs things to complain about. When you're bored and you're complaining about you're bored, that's when like more depression, anxiety, and stuff like that happens. So when you are working and tired, that's why going to the gym is important. You can't just sit on your butt all day. But again, I guess this is his talking point, and it's worked in the past. But I'm holding you accountable, Joe.
So that's when I decided I was going to run and build this economy from the bottom up and the middle out.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
When the middle class does well, everybody does well.
Very true.
Wealthy do very well, everyone does well. And, I think that's one of the things that excites me so much about dealing with.
He couldn't even move his hand without knocking things over. It's just sad.
CHIPS Act. And look, we've been partners for a while in all these efforts. And
find what you're supposed to say, Joe. Find it on the sheet.
There's no reason why that should slow up now. And I also want to thank A.B. Ghosh and everyone at Hemlock for being so.
Seriously. This is the most off-the-rails interview. He went from trickle-down economy to having a job, the purpose of job, to thanking people for it, and that's why you're like, this administration is just full of weirdness. It's just weird. It just doesn't make sense, and I think Democrats are just biting their tongue right now. But the weirdness of today and the Biden administration doesn't end. It doesn't. We have the most cringe of it all. I thought Joe Biden, when he first got elected, was going to be the most cringe. Kamala is way more cringe. This girl, she puts it on another planet. Exactly, the highest energy level ever. She's like overcompensating for Joe Biden's low energy. She's too high energy to the point where it's like like an 8-year-old kid just like so excited to talk about a new subject she just learned but doesn't really know the subject yet, but she's gonna tell you about it. She's like, hey, let me tell you.
Hey everybody! Hi!
Oh God, I'm sorry. That was like so loud and it freaking hurt my ears.
Well, can we? Hey everybody! Hi! Well, can we give it up for the first, second gentleman of the United States of America? And listen, I'm going to talk about my husband for a second. My husband. I love my husband. But let me tell you, one of the things that has been so wonderful to see about who we are as Democrats and who...
I'm going to talk about my husband. But let me tell you about the one thing we have learned as Democrats.
Joe Biden is when he said, I know that a woman can be vice president, right? is that with
I'm sorry. Did I just miss something? What is going on?
said, I know that a woman can be vice.
Joe Biden said, I know that a woman could be a vice president.
I love my husband. But let me tell you, one of the things that has been so wonderful to see about.
Okay. When you hear Kamala Harris say this, do you think of this?
You crazy as hell.
Okay.
Second gentleman of the United States of America. And listen, I'm going to talk about my husband for a second. My husband, I love my husband.
You crazy as hell.
But let me tell you, one of the things that has been so wonderful to see about who we are as Democrats and who Joe Biden is when he said, I know that a woman can be vice president, right? Is that with that came another history-making event.
Can we talk about these people in the background too? Like, this guy in the middle has clearly been working the entire time. This guy, where is this guy even looking? He's like, hey, I'm on a phone call. And then this girl at the bottom, she's clearly not paying attention either. And I bet all these people are just like tweeting about them being in this meeting. But continue, Kamala.
Which is, there is now not a second lady, but a second gentleman. And what that means, let's think about it, because I'm going to talk in a moment about what we stand for as Democrats.
Yes.
And a lot of what we stand for, if you want to step back and think about it,
is
as Joe Biden
fascism.
Says, the possibilities. We as Democrats have an ability to see what is possible, what can be, unburdened by what has been.
Oh my God, she's saying it again.
I'll have what she's having.
It's so. Oh, I can't believe she said that again. I want to hear that one more time.
If you want to step back and think about it,
yeah, I want to think about it.
Joe Biden often says, the possibilities.
Yeah.
We as Democrats have an ability to see what is possible, what can be, unburdened by what has been.
Hi.
It's just so bad. She says so much without saying anything. Exactly, Justin. It's just like everything is generalities. It's just, I feel like she thinks that she is some kind of emotional speaker that should be praised. She's like, hey y'all, after I become VP, I'm gonna be traveling the world with Tony Robbins. She must be on some good stuff. That good. That good Christian alcohol. Okay. I'm coming to the end of my show, but dude, this is our literally this is our culture. Is when things are going to hell in a handbasket, ergo a fire in your background. This is our youngest generation. And what they think. They don't think through things. They just love destruction. I mean, now's the time to do a TikTok dance. You know what I mean? God. I'm so glad we didn't have TikTok when we were young, because I would probably be so canceled. Oh, God. I would say something so dumb, especially if I was mad at my mom. Or something, I don't know. Speaking of crazy, speaking of down-to-earth people, I think this is a perfect example of why changing the definitions of words like recession, what is a woman, whatever you want to, the left is constantly trying to reframe and put things into a more fluid way of thinking. There's no concrete definitions, and there's no objective thinking, objective truth. These are things that you don't want to encourage either in children. And you have stuff like this. Demi Lovato makes pronoun change again and goes back to she, her. So she decides over a time that now, because everything's fluid and everything means nothing, You can be everything and nothing. And so she's going back to becoming a woman. Now, what is a woman? I'm not sure, because it's based on cultural norms and it's not actually based on science. If you're going to say otherwise, you're a liar. But we're going to have more kids, more younger generations that are going to be confused sexually, confused in their gender ideology, confused what language is, confused with objective truth versus subjective truth, postmodern, and in the postmodern world, like, we are going to have a problem. And there have been too many people winking and nodding, making fun of things, and not taking some of these things, especially with children, seriously. It's fun to laugh at adults, but when I see kids reiterating some of these things, it makes me sad. It makes me sad. It's an attack on the family structure. Exactly. It's an attack on objective truth and reality. Is that it goes down to the original sin. Did God really say that? That from Genesis. They're using that same mentality of like, oh, you thought that's what a man was, or you thought that that's what a woman was, or you thought that that's what 2 + 2 was, or you thought that that's what a recession is. I'm just going to recreate the meaning of a word so that I can affirm you in this moment. And we're going to have all these people that the minute they have somebody that's non-affirming, they're going to lose their minds because they don't know how to deal with it. Because once you feel objective truth face to face, you're faced with reality. And when you haven't been forced to live in reality, I just think that's like, once chaos meets order, it's just like when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Like that. That's just my thoughts on the pinnacle of our culture in today's world of like what's going to happen is that you're going to have people like myself or you, and then you're going to have the other side of like complete chaos, and we're never going to see eye to eye because the other side doesn't want order and we don't want chaos. So I don't know what my thoughts are on that, but that's just what I was thinking of. I truly think it's we are back to Sodom and Gomorrah, dude. I mean, it's just I feel like there will be a flashpoint soon. I feel like there will be too, and it makes me nervous because I think the reality that violence might be the result of it, and that should scare everyone, because violence is something you should avoid at all costs because it's hell. It's not something that you should welcome. It's something that you should fear. But we have too many people in this world that think that violence is a joke, like that girl just dancing in front of a burning forest because whatever. YOLO, who cares? Meanwhile in China, what up, H. Potter? Meanwhile in China, the kids are getting traditionally... Exactly. And why wouldn't you if you were China? Why wouldn't you take this moment? Same with Russia. To establish... I don't know if you saw... I should try to look it up. That Russian video of them trying to beg you to move there. And they're just like talking about beautiful women. But they also talked about like woke culture and council culture and stuff like that. Why wouldn't you lean into that? If you are the number 2, number 3 country, strong country, like if you're not number 1, why wouldn't you lean into that even more? Because you know it works. It's like all these education systems that are worried about their equity quota over just getting the brightest and best into the positions so that we continue progressing and the world continues to get better. Because we have the brightest and best doing what the brightest and best should do. Like whatever your passions are, whatever you feel like you should be doing, you should put all your might and soul into that. And for you to be rejected because of your skin color and the company is over their equity quota or whatever crap, it's just insane. Instead, we should be a country that welcomes that. Like, who cares about what race you are? If you have great thoughts or you could improve a company, my company, I would hire you in a second. I don't care. Like, it's just, history rhymes or whatever. Here's Joe Rogan, though. Everyone loses their mind when Joe Rogan has a logical idea. They're just like, oh my God, Joe Rogan said the same thing I've been saying. I suspect this is an antenna-controlled demolition. An intimate... yeah. Well, the communists are obsessed with destruction because once you destroy the power structures, you destroy language, and you destroy these things, then you look to leaders, you look to lords, you look to religious things like government to replace religion and stuff like that for you to find your safety, because people need to be grounded in some capacity. So if you're no longer grounded by religion, you're not grounded by whatever you fill in the blank, chaos ensues, and then you look for order to fill that chaos. I don't know. But here's Joe Rogan having a thought that we've all had. But, it's Joe Rogan, so we have to, clap. It's like Bill Maher. Anytime he has, a logical thinking idea, you're like, oh, my God, the old guys are getting it.
People would think that it's trivial because they are talking about this economic downturn, but it's not trivial because we've always used that term recession. And we've always used that term to...
No, Joe, we've always used that term if the Republican and the president is Republican. Then we use that term. That's just how that's how it happens. We use negative terms when Republicans are in charge. That's just how we do. But if a Democrat's in charge, it's just, the economy's good, but whatever, the experts are talking.
Define whether or not the economic policies that are currently in place and whether or not the management and the government has done a good job of making sure that the economy stays in a good place. They definitely haven't done that. So in order to escape that, that sort of distinction, they're literally changing the definition, which is terrible, and it should be pushed back against in a big way. It should be something that people get angry about. Like, hey, you're fucking with definitions in order to pretend that you're doing a good job.
Well, Joe, that's literally what the left has been doing for the last few years, is go after the definitions. That's why Wikipedia is always like, oh, what's the new definition? Help us understand, and help us lock down some of these words so people don't have the idea to put in the real definitions. We need to have whatever you tell us is right thinking. It's insane, though. The idea that we're in a recession, it's very obvious. You're feeling it. I'm feeling it. Inflation is incredibly high. Even that whole thing with inflation. We know inflation is higher than the number that they're telling us because we feel it in our paychecks. But then we just were like, tell me what inflation is. Even though I can clearly look at how much has gas risen in the last year. Okay, there's inflation. How much has meat risen? In 1984, exactly. Joe Rogan. I'm glad that he, imagine if he had the #1 podcast in the world and he was just spitting absolute nonsense, which I don't think is logically possible would happen because people gravitate. Oh, that's the reason why you listen to me, is that I'm not going to just spit nonsense. It's like, even the times that I do spit nonsense, I'm going to regard it as nonsense and say what I'm saying is probably dumb. But I think we need more people like him or myself. I don't want to big up myself, but we need more people that are willing to say I'm wrong or I want to learn, or when you see something that's insane, call it insane. And because imagine if because I'm more libertarian and I have some conservative values and I tend to vote Republican more because I feel like sometimes my vote is wasted by voting libertarian. I hate that ideology, and I hate that I feel like I have to do that. But that's just the reality of the Libertarian Party's borderline a joke. And I wish they weren't, because it's such an obvious win. Do you like freedom? Yes. Well, then you should vote Libertarian. Well, if I vote Libertarian, okay, whatever. But we just need more people that are more concerned about ideas than does this person have a D or an R in front of their name? Because if they do have one of those things, then I'll listen to them or I'll agree with them. And I just go with whatever the Republicans say or the Democrats say. It's just I think the majority of us in the world and in America don't think like that. I think it's just like some of these fringe political podcasts, Fox News, CNN, those people think like that. They're just like, whatever the Republicans do, I'm on board. But that's why they hate like people like Tucker Carlson, you know? Because he calls out like Republicans. They're just like, ooh, you can't do that. You're going against the other establishment. Whatever. Let's check on the news real quick.
President Trump, former President Trump, instead of offering solutions. And really,
remember when Joe has the toe in the line or else? Joe has the toe in the line or else. I don't know if I know what that means.
And it's going to, unfortunately, I think, create some doubt about our elections for years to come, at least among more conservative voters.
We have seen some Democrats in other states who say, you know, I think the vast majority of people know that our elections are safe, and we actually want to run against these election deniers because we can beat them. Do you agree with that? Would you rather run against an election denier?
What? What was that? An election denier? Is that what you call people who question the election? I wonder if like a Republican wins, do you become an election denier all of a sudden? My spelling is off today. I'm dyslexic, so whatever spelling you bring up.
Just a little while ago, and they're saying what we heard from the congressman earlier today, which is that they're feeling confident right now that he has run his race, and it's up to the voters at this point. And you know, they're warning the same thing you're hearing from.
All right. But that's my end of my series podcast. I want to end on a good note. There is this 7-bedroom mansion inside Disney World that hits the market for $15 million, and I want to look at some of these pictures with you. First of all, would you live in Disneyland? Disney World, sorry. No. But look at this room. What? How awesome is this room? This room doesn't even look real. Look at these seats and the stars in the sky. I mean, it's incredible. It's got like the old Star Wars vibe and the new. Oh, look at this bar. I mean, that is sick. And then you get to the boring stuff. I love all that. It's amazing. In Disney World, but this is the dream right there. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for getting in my chat. Tell your friends and family about the Derek O'Shea Show. Share it on social media platforms, please. The only way it grows through you. If you want to support my show, you go buymeacoffee.com. Always, it's the same thing as Super Chat, so if you're ever to do it during a live show, it'd pop up on here. Yeah, it's exciting. I would just be waiting for Darth Vader to kick my ass. I know. Could you imagine never watching Star Wars in this room though? I don't know, the last person we bought it from, I'm just not a fan, but I thought it was too cool to tear down. I wonder whose room this is. George Lucas. I hope you guys have a good night. Appreciate every single one of you. I'm gonna go live again a couple times again this week. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I love you. Thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, tell you, keep it up. Harry Potter. Bye, Harry Potter. Bye, everyone. Giovanni, Potter, Justin, appreciate y'all. All right, bye.